Now, we have asking you to put on a crystal ball. When do
Yeah,
you anticipate the next financial meltdown?
that leads to the question of climate change, because the next financial meltdown will occur when we realise just how serious climate change is, because we've been fooled to regard it as being trivial by economists. And I actually believe that economic theory, with deluded work on climate, which I criticise them on money, but what they've done on climate is far, far more stupid, and that's the only word I can use for it, stupid, than what they've done on the banking sector. So we are going to have a financial crisis when people realise just how serious global warming is. And that will mean all the assets, which are particularly involved, of course, in fossil fuels, but virtually everything else, will be seen as overvalued, and there'll be a collapse.
Uh, but how do you? The question is, when do you anticipate?
I think it's going to be this decade. Okay.
It's going to be when?
It's going to be this decade,
This
because
decade.
this decade, because I mean, economists, and this the guy called William Nordhaus was given the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2018 for his work on climate. And up until this point, I hadn't actually read any of the work by Nordhaus and friends. And I thought, oh, well, at least they're giving a Nobel Prize for work on climate change. That's probably a good thing. Then I read what he wrote. And if I had a school child who was given an assignment about climate change, who wrote what William Nordhaus has written on climate change and got the Nobel Prize for, I'd probably spank him and say, you've got to rewrite that, that's stupid. So he literally assumed, this is no joke, he literally assumed when he first tried to estimate what was going to be the damage from global warming on the economy, he said that he broke the American economy into three divisions. He said there's significantly exposed to climate change, moderately exposed, and negligibly exposed. Now have a guess, how much do you reckon he put in the negligibly exposed bracket? Have a guess, just give me any number, just roughly speaking. What do you think an economist would think would be the proportion of the economy that would be pretty much unaffected by climate change?
40%?
Not 87%. He assumed that all of manufacturing, all of retail and wholesale services, all of utilities, all of the government sector, all of finance would be unaffected because it happens in what he called carefully controlled environments. That's a direct quote. Now, I left out one sector. He even included mining. Now, what have all of those sectors got in common? They happen undercover, except mining. And somebody obviously pointed out to him after that paper was published that, William, there's open cut mining. So the next time he published an article on this, he said underground mining, and he reduced the number from 87% to 85%. Now that means this man has been given a Nobel Prize for work on climate change, believes that a roof will protect you from climate change. He has no bloody idea. And yet that level of delusion is how economists have treated climate change. That's where you see predictions about, 10% of damage to the economy by 2100 coming from. Nonsense. If you read the climate scientists, and of course I read the climate scientists, they are terrified. Not all of them. Some of them think we might be able to evade catastrophe. But a large number of climate scientists who know a hell of a lot about the climate and know what nonsense, if they read Nordhaus, they know what garbage he has written. Why are people listening to us? They literally wonder, why on earth are people not listening to our warnings? The reason is people listen to the economists. The economists saying, no big deal, nothing to worry about, we'll be much wealthier in the future, delay it.
But is that a popular view? I thought the consensus now was that we need to worry.
Yeah, it's a consensus, which, look at my own country, Australia, as an example of how strong that consensus is. We now have a Labor government there that's supposed to be progressive. It claims it worries about climate change, whereas the previous Conservative Party, which is called Liberal in Australia, was saying, oh, there's nothing, climate change is a hoax pretty much. The Labor Party say they're going to take it seriously. Now, what they've done is they've approved a whole lot of new coal mines and new gas mines, and they're saying they reckon a growth in the level of mining of natural gas. It's called natural gas, actually methane. It's not natural. they expect to expand the gas production out to 2050 while also reaching net zero. So it's all window dressing. It's the Potemkin village of treatment of climate change. When you look at the data, and this is something which drives my whole approach to economics and everything else, the data on carbon dioxide levels is just rising exponentially. You can literally say, if you go back to 1750 and find the data then and project it forward to 2030 roughly, or 2024, it's just a perfect exponential curve. And you can simply say it's just been growing at this exponential rate for 250 years. We've done bugger all to change the rate of growth of carbon, and that means the temperatures have continued rising. So we've done bugger all, and therefore nothing we've done has prevented global warming.
But how serious do you think the problem is, the global warming?
I think human civilization will not survive.